Good afternoon. As Jennifer mentioned, my name is Matthew Fishhusser, and I'm joined by Jeremy Carpenter, and together we represent Sector 7 from the MRC. Sector 7 is the electricity marketer sector. Specifically, its members are organizations who are engaged in the buying and selling of wholesale electric power in North America, including both the physical as well as financial transactions. And I will say right now, it's a very interesting time for our sector. The dynamics of the evolution of the bulk electric system has resulted in increased volatility of prices, as well as a shift in the traditional daily curves through the addition of solar, wind, the retirement of thermal generations that we've been hearing about, load growth, transmission, data centers, artificial intelligence, extreme weather. I could go on and on and on. Essentially, all the topics that we're talking about at NERC are the driving forces of the markets that our sector is engaged in. If you go to the next slide. What the slide shows the members in our sector. We're a relatively small sector in terms of the number of participants in our sector. Overall, we are really focused on the objective of optimizing the wholesale market, representing both load generation resources as well as financial products, with the sole purpose of doing both hedging as well as speculation, and thus enhancing both reliability and affordability through the creation of liquidity in the marketing. One of the unique aspects of our sector is the scope of our perspective geographically. And I think this is a critical component. We've heard a lot of the other presentations talk about the scope of their sector being broad across the country or across boundaries, both Canada as well as the United States. But in our sector, single organizations or members within our sector have a very large scope. Both Jeremy's as well as the organization which I belong to actively are involved in markets from coast to coast, as well as in the US and in Canada, not focused on one specific area. As a result, we're able to see both activity that's happening in the ISOs as well as unstructured traditional markets and having that unique perspective. If you go to the next slide. One of the questions in preparing the presentation was to discuss the trade organization's impact on the way that we collaborate for NERC. We do not have a trade organization in Sector 7 that does our collaboration for our discussion and input. Specifically, that's something that Jeremy and I do within our sector as our role within the MRC. Sector 7's key priorities and initiatives, as should not be a surprise based off of the name of our sector, relate to market dynamics. In essence, we have a desire to optimize the markets. One aspect that I feel like is important to highlight as we talk about Sector 7 is some of the additional perspectives that the Sector 7 can provide as a result of the natural extension of our roles. I mentioned earlier that both physical as well as financial products from the electricity side of the house are part of our responsibilities or creator membership. This allows us to see the aspects that are happening from the financial products and its roles on the physical commodity. Furthermore, many members of the sector are related in the fuel procurement as a natural extension, including natural gas. And we've had a lot of discussion within the MRC about natural gas, so we are able to add this input and insight. Third, in order to optimize the markets, a lot of the members of our sector have extensive modeling, data, and analytic solutions that are critical to our overall operations. We model resources, demand, transmission, so that we can be able to provide this information in order to optimize the markets. This also gives us that information to help us support NERC in the achievement of its objectives and mission. Finally, I'd like to mention that some of our sector members have operations in addition to the marketing capabilities. While there are clear boundaries that are appropriate as well as required between marketing and operations, the overall insight that we gain as organizations and members within Sector 7 from the operations side of things really allows us to understand the dynamics between the external forces and the risks and challenges that are presented. To conclude, I'd like to basically restate that our focus is really on the market side of things with the shared goal of optimization. We appreciate the opportunity to present today, and we would be happy to take any questions.